Happy Halloween!
You're listening to the Casual Swinger Podcast. As your host, we need to warn you that the material you're about to hear may be sexual or explicit in nature. This podcast is intended for an adult audience. Now, we don't expect you to act like adults. What's the fun in that?
We're a married couple living in Florida with over 13 years of experience in the lifestyle, and we take almost nothing seriously. Casual Swinger is a variety show, meaning we'll cover everything from music to events, travel, and even the occasional hilarious screw-up. Our show is about entertainment. We're not licensed professionals.
At anything.
And our stories, commentary, and guidance should not be confused with the opinions of a licensed professional.
Now that you know, let's take those pants off and get comfy. And welcome back to Casual Swinger. Actually, just welcome to the next episode of Casual Swinger. Welcome. I think I did that last year.
Did you?
I think so. Oh well. Repeat. It's still a good time.
Oh, maybe no one here was not there.
Maybe.
By the way, I'm Mickey.
But hi, Mickey. Nice to meet you. I'm Mallory. By the way, is it like hot in here? Like you got to be the devil or something, because holy shit, you're looking fucking good.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
thanks. Kind of having fun doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it. Hey, this episode's called Roll With It, by the way, folks. This is a role play episode featuring two of our favorite people we've ever had on the show because they told a story that knocked you guys' socks off. Yeah, we're talking about our friends Jack and Kissy.
Amazing humans. Love those guys.
Yeah, and you guys know how we roll here on Casual Swinger. You know that if we're not experts at something, but we want to talk about it, we'll go find you somebody that is, and that's exactly what we did.
Amen. And this is a great topic. We're covering role playing, which is something that we personally don't have a lot of experience, not at the pro level these guys do. So again, bring you people that know their shit, that can speak, to it from an experience perspective. And if you hit that damn button, I swear to God.
What button?
The soundboard.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I
I saw you. You're fucking sneaky.
Just touching stuff.
I'll bite your fingers off.
Well, hey, this is our spooky Halloween episode, and what better time to dig into role play and costumes and all that fun stuff.
I'm writing your epitaph now.
You knew I was going to do
Your eulogy is happening this evening.
It's happening. Anyway, we're going to sit down with Jack and Kissy. We love these guys a whole bunch. We're going to dig in with them on their other passion. Not necessarily the cuckolding thing that you guys know and love them for, but dressing in character and really embodying the role that they play. So we're going to talk about what they do with their lifestyle friends and at home and alone and how it enhances their personal sex life, not just swinging.
Amen. And you know what? I love life so much, especially when we have the opportunity to do these things, because I had a takeaway from that conversation. I think there's something really wonderful in some of the methodology that opens and deepens those lines of communication. So, stay tuned, listen to the interview with these guys, because there's some really great information, even if you're not into role playing.
What Mallory said. But we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let's talk about what's new. First up, yes, it's true. We cannot make the Rascals Hedo trip. We announced that last episode. But since we announced that, there's been a couple of COVID-related and schedule-related cancellations, much like ours with the Grand Spawn. So if you want to get in on a great group, rachalsrascals.com, that's RACHALS, rascals.com. They have some rooms available for just 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, just around the corner. So if
3
you
weeks.
if you have the time, and you can book it, we hope you do. It's a great group. Love those guys. But I have one condition for you. If you go, you have to tell them we love them so much and give people hugs if you're comfortable doing so.
Yes. Well, maybe just like you can give them a crisp high five or something.
Yes. I don't know. Elbow tap or knuckles, something. Because
just drop your knees and give them a blowjob from Mallory.
Yes, because that's how I roll.
Yeah.
No, but it's a great time. And like you said, they have a few rooms that have opened up. So feel free to contact them. That's rachalsrascals.com.
That's a fact. Now, since that last episode, we announced we would not be able to make the Rascals trip, but the very next day, we heard from Kate.
Yes.
And she's like,
So because we don't have the constraints with domestic travel, it looks like we're going to PCAP Encore in Dallas.
We are making an appearance, folks. We will be at PCAP Encore in Dallas, which, by the way, is sold out.
I love it. We knew Kate would sell that out. The PCAP we attended in May was just such a hit. Amazing experience. Now we're just going as attendees, as far as I know. Like, we'll be there and socializing and causing a ruckus of our own.
Yeah, we're not doing a session. I think we're going to do some other stuff for Kate, right? I think I'll MC a party or something, but no big deal.
We like being involved and helping, but I'm excited to see some of our great friends and people that we met at the last PCAP as well. And
my God.
And I love
There's
Texas,
so many of those
and
folks.
I love Texas, so.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Sassy Molassie just submitted an order to the store, by the way. And what
Hey,
they
girl,
said,
hey.
But what they did is they put Mickey to deliver to PCAP. So I guess I'm bringing some shit with us. They're like, don't ship it, just bring it to PCAP.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, we get 2 free check bags, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
I
not
guess.
complaining. I'm just going to ship it to Jay and
I'm
Angie.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I already messaged Jay. I'm like, hey, Jay, I'm going to ship this shit to your house. And he's like, no problem.
That's perfect.
So I love that. So Sassy Molassie shit's going to Jay. And if he puts it on first, it's not my fault.
Yeah, and it also means we'll be bringing some stuff for the bags, right? Like, we're going to give people some cool shit.
Yeah, we were working on that last night. We're going to get some goodies in here. So even though we're not doing a session, we're going to make sure that we get in on those goodie bags.
Yeah, we like sharing the love.
Yeah, no big deal there. But hey, what else is new, Mama?
Oh my gosh, can we just talk about the grand spawn for 1 minute?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, she's so fucking cute. I'm dying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's pretty cute.
Yeah.
She looks exactly like our daughter.
Very much so. I think she hit the nail on the head when she said she hit copy and paste.
Yeah, our daughter just hit copy, paste, and squirted it out. I mean,
It's
that's
really great. I feel like we are pretty fucking young grandparents. So I'm looking forward to owning that and being like fun and spry and cool and all these wonderful things that we get to do because we're on the younger side of the spectrum. But it
Yeah.
is kind of surreal, isn't it?
Well, it's surreal because I didn't expect my daughter to reproduce quite at this age. I had my daughter young, so that's how we ended up being young grandparents, and it's still going to be fun. I mean, she's still a little crotch goblin, and at some point, she'll want to come down and go visit this godforsaken mouse hole.
Yeah, I mean, God willing, we'll get her a couple times a year. But yes, we will be doing that whole pomp and circumstance. And
Kill
yes.
me now.
That's okay. It'll be different.
I hate Disney World.
I hate your soundboard. Sorry. What is he doing? What is the scritchy noise?
I don't know. It's just happening. Just go with it.
Does it stop?
Eventually.
Thank you. Oh, hey, there's another thing that's happening, by
What's
the
that?
way. Your fucking birthday.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That literally, if you're listening
Woody-
to this right now, it's
your
Mickey's birthday.
It is his birthday. So I have a call to action, ladies.
Uh-oh.
Let's flood Mickey's DMs. You can find us as Casual Swinger on Twitter with all the boobies for him to have the best birthday ever. Please and thank you. And if you're listening to this in January, still send him your boobs.
I had no idea you were going to say that.
You're welcome.
So I'm a little flummoxed right now. I'm like, it is my birthday. Yep, I'm 1 year older. That is how it goes. One more trip around the sun on this spinning mud ball we call Earth. But hey, you know what? I just got back from Vegas.
Yeah.
And this was a really long trip, and it screwed up my time schedule. So I'm having trouble getting up before 10 and going to bed before 3 a.m.
Oh, my God. You've kept me up to 3 a.m. 3 nights in a row. And I'm telling you right now, that's not happening tonight.
No.
Like,
You know how to put
I'm
me
walking
out.
out of the studio and I'm sleeping till tomorrow.
Okay. You know how to put me out.
I
right?
do.
Okay.
I do.
You know what you got to do.
One in the butt. Gotcha.
Hey, wait a minute.
Actually, what do you want for your birthday? Come on. Give it to me.
Tandem.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
No, I want a good video.
You want to get horny as fuck fall.
There
Here
it
we
is,
go.
folks. Horny as fuck falls in full swing.
I love you.
Yeah, so I went to see my friends Dave and Nicole at Playhouse LV.
That's right. When you were in Vegas.
That's right. And, I got to tell you, that little club is nice.
I surmised as much just looking at photos that they've posted and knowing the two of them, you know that they had a high standard.
They really
Right.
do. And I think the thing that stood out to me the most, because, almost no lifestyle club is in a nice area, right? And Vegas has a lot of like little warehouse areas around, but their club is like 5 minutes from the strip. It's not far.
Nice. Okay.
And so it's not in like some seedy ass area. It's not huge, but Dave did such a nice job just laying this place out. And it's done so thoughtfully. Like, when you first walk in, you've got security, and then you can go to the right or to the left, and you go to the left to get back to where's kind of their main dance floor, bar, DJ area. And you go through the locker room, and the lockers are all included with your admission. You get back to the bar area, and all of the sodas are included, so BYOB type thing. But they had so many types of playrooms that I really thought were thoughtful and interesting. King-size beds, queen-size beds, group rooms, private rooms. They had an aquarium with glass so people could see in, but not interact with you. But I think my favorite room, and I maybe for remembering this improperly, but I think Dave called it the silhouette room. What it was beds that had these sheer curtains, like sheets, over them. So once you're inside it, people can kind of see you, but kind of can't.
Like mosquito netting almost?
Yeah, but thicker.
Ooh,
and so it was really sexy, especially with the red light that he had in the room, because there were LED lights around every bed.
And how many beds?
In that room with the silhouettes, I want to say there were like 6.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a big
nice
room.
Size. It's not overwhelming, but it's enough to hear. Like if you're an audiophile and you enjoy the sounds and
of people having sex,
the people having sex, it's probably a really good amount of beds when you think about how many couples are on one bed ish. Because we've been in group rooms where there's been like maybe 20 or 30 mattresses.
Yeah.
Like, or play areas. And that for me was a little overwhelming.
It's like on top of each other in a lot of places. But I got to tell you, everything that Dave and Nicole did with this club was either centered on customer service or sexy sensuality.
I love,
and I like that.
Based in logic and comfort.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anytime you're looking at hospitality, those have to be the 2 of the top 5 things you need to, I don't know, use or utilize when you're configuring that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So that was all right. Anyway, Playhouse LV, check it out if you get a chance. It's playhouselv.com if you get a chance. And if you reach out to Dave and Nicole and want to become a member, just let them know that you heard about it on Casual Swing or you're friends of ours.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, by the way, I heard Whiskey of the Month was a hit.
Yeah, people started reaching out pretty quickly about that. They were like, hey, check that shit out. And we started getting other suggestions for Whiskey of the Month for us to try out.
I'm so excited. I love being able to try new whiskeys and have recommendations, because sometimes we'll stand there and we'll see a few new bottles. And then what do? We open our phones and we try to go and look at a ton of reviews. And, it's nice to have something come in like that so we can experiment a little. So I love that.
Well, and we don't have to do a ton of that. I mean, we don't have room in our bar right now I think we have over 180 whiskeys in our bar right now.
That's true. That's true. We have a running list. Like, I'm very excited for the next Whiskey of the Month. So
yeah, we do. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that one. And that next one's going to come in the next episode, which will be here pretty much on the 1st of November, I think. So we'll roll that one in for November 1st up. And don't miss that episode. It's going to be hot. That's going to be Mallory's episode. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag on that. But if you hang around to the end of this episode, you'll hear an overview of what that episode's going to be about.
Yeah. So what else is happening around here? I think we have a little change in the weather.
Yeah, a little change in the weather. Yeah, it was really nice, actually. It was like 75 degrees today. But, yeah, I think we're going to plan another meet and greet. So reach out to us and let us know however you get in touch. Mallory tells you like twice an episode. We'll get something on the books.
Love it.
Yeah, we need to do another meet and greet here soon. But, Mallory, why don't you do your thing, tell people where to find us, and we'll get back to you here with Jack and Kissy. Talk about role play.
I thought my thing was being a dirty, dirty little girl.
God, yes, please.
All right, guys, we're Casual Swinger everywhere. You can find us at casualswinger.com. Shoot us a message, podcast@casualswinger.com. You like us, want to say something nice? Hey, do it publicly. Maybe, I don't know, on Apple Podcasts. That'd be pretty cool.
Hey, yeah, please. Yeah. We need the affirmation.
Desperately, I feed on that stuff.
She flogs me, folks. It's abuse.
It's not.
Help me.
You like it. We're Casual Swinger on social media as well. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also check us out as Casual Swinger on the dating sites. It's Double Date Nation, SLS, SBC, and Kissy.
There it is. Folks, we'll be right back in a hot second with the role-playing couple, Jack and Kissy. You've been listening to Casual Swinger. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Casual Swinger. My name's Mickey.
And I'm Mallory.
Our spooky Halloween music is still in full effect. I think
cute.
It's fun.
You did good.
Yeah, it's a good kicker. But hey, we've got some friends with us on the episode today. They're our friends Jack and Kissy. Jack and Kissy are a cuckold role-playing couple. We've had on the show a few times. Actually, I guess it's number 2,
yes,
right? So now it's a few, right? Now it's a few. But hey, they're a lot more than a cuckold couple. Now, you guys, of course, remember them for all the crazy stuff that they did on their wedding night with their bull. But now they're a lot more than that. As a matter of fact, they're OnlyFans, right? They're video on demand folks for OnlyFans and doing a lot of fun stuff over there to help keep you guys entertained the only way they know how, which is sexy. They're pro-level role players, though, and today we're going to find out a little bit more about how this sexy couple plays, but also how they choose their costumes, assemble their personas, the stories they act out together. So without further ado, Jack and Kissy, how the hell are you guys?
We are good, and we are so excited to be with both of you again. We miss you tons, and we are just so excited about this show today because we could literally talk for days about role-playing.
I can't think of anyone better suited that I would be more interested in talking about the subject with, because you guys, from my perspective, are the pros. 100%.
Oh, very much so.
This is our most erotic time of the year. And what do you guys got a coinage for that, right? What do you call it?
Swinger Christmas.
Yeah, no, it was something else. Spooky, sexy. But
horny as fuck fall.
Like, the
Yeah,
that's it. The shadows are longer, the nights are a little more crisp, and it's getting darker earlier, and it's just, it's erotic. It's that time of year, everyone's in costumes. And not everyone.
Yeah, see, it drives me personally fucking nuts because every person I see is dressed as something else, so I don't know who they are, and that's actually a challenge for me. And maybe we can talk about that later, but maybe that's why I don't really do the role play thing. And here on Casual Swinger, if we don't know what we're doing, we bring on people that do. And when it comes to role play, nobody else comes close.
Nope, not even within a mile. Nope.
Yeah, it's just stupid. So we were so excited when we wanted to do a Halloween episode. We were like, what do we want to talk about? And costumes? Wait a minute. Role play. Jack and Kissy. Done. Like, that's just exactly how it went.
Let's give these guys a little bit of background and a little history. So can you guys tell us a little bit about how you got into role play and what was your first experience like?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started down that, path of the naughty, as we call it, we had met a guy for a meet and greet, and this was going to be like a bull, hotwife, cuckold kind of situation. And met him at a bar, and it was October, and because he was all dressed to the nines and just a little slutty. It was really fun, and he was a good-looking kind of bodybuilder, but the chemistry was there, and it was hot. And but he started to go to his fantasies of wanting to do kind of this comic book role play type of play date, and how he wanted to be the evil villain and take on the super heroines and superheroes, and how wants to dress up and wants us to dress up, and that's kind of freaking crazy. And so we kind of talked about setting up a play date and stuff, and we left that meet and greet, and we literally laughed on our way home. Like, he was, gosh, it was going so well, and then he just went and left field with this whole superhero stuff. But it started to sink in a few days later, and we started looking, it was Halloween time. We went looking for costumes and stuff, and we started looking for superhero costumes, things that we can wear. We got excited, and we bought costumes, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. So he planted the seed with us.
That's awesome. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was. I mean, sadly, we never actually pulled it off with him. So
that,
I know it was
that went left. I wasn't expecting that.
But like a year or two after that seed was planted, we met a couple, and they were empty nesters. they were looking for something where they wanted to rekindle their erotic relationship with each other and needed to find something to reconnect. And the guy had a very similar fantasy of being the evil villain and capturing the superheroes. So it was his wife, Silver Slut, and Countess Kissy, and of course, Boy Blunder.
I love Boy Blunder. That might be my favorite.
Yeah, guess who that is? Thanks a lot.
But that's amazing. So the seed was planted, so you'd already had time and an opportunity to at least consider it. And I love how, the seed was planted, and you guys were like, "We're all in. We're going to go ahead and be proactive and go get costumes and just jump in. Why not? Let's give it a try." And then have another opportunity to actually fulfill that fantasy with another couple. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. So I don't know that. I mean, it really sounds like you just embraced it from your first time out. But what is it that's your favorite thing about role play? What attracted you guys to it, and what makes you keep going back for it?
The thing about role play is just the ability to really scale the situation, and it allows everyone the opportunity to just kind of have an experience where your wants and needs are met, and also ensure that if there are limits that somebody has, that you don't cross those. So in situations, especially with new couples or new people in a relationship, some of those, sexual likes and dislikes are a bit hard to talk about up front. But if you talk about them in the space of a role play and what you want to have happen or not have happen, it makes it a very safe
That's great.
space.
Yeah, because you have to have very open dialogue, very open communication about boundaries, wants, desires, likes, dislikes before you even venture into it. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get into the scripting and the posing and all that other, stuff later. But yeah, that is exceptional lines of communication.
Half the fun also, I mean, really, the scripting, the planning, the things you just talked about, Mallory, is, I mean, that's like foreplay in itself as you work together with your playmates that you're going to, plan this play date with is the planning, and you get excited about, oh, I'm gonna wear this, and we're gonna do this and use this the wand, or the torture toy or something. I mean, all the things that you can envelope in is just it's erotic. It's foreplay before you even get on that date.
Oh, yeah, I'd be edging hard. I can tell you right now, that would edge me so hard.
Are this edging bullshit? No. This was no fun today.
Yeah. I've been leaving him on the ledge a little bit today. But so now that you guys have your feet wet, you like the experiences. How do you go about finding other couples? Is this something you do on the traditional dating sites? Do you have other methods that you find other couples that are interested in this? Or do you have a stable that you've already curated? How does that work?
Yeah, we have a stable in the backyard. We have all our role play friends. No,
I love it.
All right, who we bringing out today? No, we don't specifically seek out people for role play, but we are meeting people and couples on all the regular social swinger sites like SLS, DDN, Cassidy, FetLife, or we meet people, hotel takeovers. And our in our profiles, a lot of times we say that we love imagination and creativity. Or when someone, when some guys like, hey, what are you guys into? It's like creativity and imagination. And it always throws people like, what? But some people are drawn to that. Others are not so sure what that means, but they're open to it once we explain. And, frankly, I could find 100 guys who just want to fuck my wife, right?
Fair.
Okay, yawn. But
I love you.
What else can you offer us? Give us some creativity and some imagination that I really like it if you did this. And then, okay, now we start the foundations of role play. So, we throw that idea at people and we kind of advertise a little bit this is what we're into, creativity and imagination, and we'll start that conversation.
I love that. That's probably got to be the best response I've ever heard to that question, because it gets asked all the time, whether you're doing the hot white thing or
Yeah.
it,
It's
right.
like the first question
right.
they ask usually.
Creativity and imagination. I would take pause in that. That would catch me off guard, and I'd absolutely want to dig into exactly what that means. But I'm also hearing when you say creativity and imagination, I want to know that your mind is really open and you want to explore that side of it, right?
Right. Well, it makes them form words too, and then you get to kind of figure out, because intellect is clearly a part of you guys' cycle for picking partners. So they're like, duh.
Well, he could be a caveman. I mean, if that's part of it,
right? That could be his role play. He just grunts and grabs Kissy by the hair and drags her back to his cave.
And it makes some of those conversations a little bit easier, right? Like role play takes a ton of pressure off, frankly. Like especially if you're, meeting someone new, you can introduce a very simple role play that has a little bit of structure, and everyone's not just, sitting around after dinner wondering, how that transition is going to go from this date to the bedroom, right? So you have naturally built in some of the elements that get you kind of to where you want to go.
So you talked about new, and I think this is something as longtime lifestylers we have definitely seen. We meet newer couples, and sometimes it can be a little frustrating. Sometimes it can be a little taxing. And a lot of times we find ourselves saying the same thing, which is we can either be your Sherpa or we can be your play partners, but we can't be both. So for you guys, role play, I just don't meet that many people that are on the level you guys are in role play. So how do you introduce new couples to role play, being as experienced as you are? Is it hard? And do you have that same policy that we have about I can either teach you how or play with you, but not both?
So I really think, that we've found it to be quite easy, whether it's couple that we are introducing it to, or whether it's a single guy that we're playing with. And there, frankly, is a couple that we've met recently at a hotel takeover, and they've never done really anything within the lifestyle, right? I mean, they went to a hotel takeover, so good for them, right? They're like put themselves out there. But we, we're talking to them, and in this situation, we actually were kind of acting as their Sherpas into the into the lifestyle, but it was within a role play scenario. So we kind of added the elements that we wanted while trying to also, kind of give them some help and advice along the way.
Yeah, we met them out. We typical met them out for drinks after the hotel takeover one night, and started talking about, we were very open and honest, because look, we've been in this for a while. You guys are new, so please ask anything and stuff. And we eventually got to here's a really fun idea that kind of takes out some of the awkwardness, and we introduced them, and they were like, oh my gosh, and it absorbed them. 3 days later, they're like, we have all these ideas, what if we do this, or what if we're this, you're that. It was really awesome to see it just explode in their minds, and how they were like, this is fun and can be fun. Yes.
So so not only is it the ultimate icebreaker, but the added benefit is seeing, the play partners and completely embody themselves and get excited about future endeavors. So that's got to be wonderful.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's so fun to just, sit, because we kind of went through that same journey, right? We initially thought, well, that is just a crazy, crazy idea. And then as you started thinking about it, it was like, wow, this is just the most brilliant thing. And you start getting all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, but I have to know if you guys sing A Whole New World from Aladdin to them to usher them in after they've had this experience.
We should have had the soundtrack playing.
They all just wake up and look at each other like,
wow! You and that fucking soundboard.
she's had enough of my sound effects already today. So it sounds like this whole thing kind of deepens the lifestyle experience for you guys, or since we do have Jack and Kissy here, the naughty. Is that the case? Does it deepen the experience for you both?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it does. I mean, I think for us, it gives us the additional elements of, our creative outlet, because we, have a creative side that we don't necessarily get to express a lot in our corporate jobs. And so it allows us that element, but it also allows us that ability. Jack and I have always said that anything that we do within the naughty is always about enhancing our relationship together, right? So it has to be about what is going to bring the two of us closer together. And so we always are able to add something within a role play that makes that connection and deepers the relationship that we have.
That's awesome. So we don't do role play. You guys do it a little differently than we saw it going in our heads. And you really embody the characters you play, and you even go as far to write scripts for this, right?
We have, yeah.
Okay, so not every time, but in certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things, we have a few elaborate role plays we've done where we have scripted things out. I think for the most part, we have a general outline of what's going to happen. And, the dialogue and scenario is a little bit more free form, right? So I'm, much more introverted than Jack, but I can get into a character, or I can get into, a role that, that I'm going to be playing. And, it doesn't always have to be an elaborate situation. You can do something that, is a pretty simple role play.
And, let me add that I kind of think you both have done maybe a bit of role play already. You talked about that Euphoria 80s dinner, the event in your for 50's first date episode back in July, and how much you enjoyed getting into character, and you got a taste of what that could potentially lead to moving into like an erotic role play, right? I mean, you
Dude, I was a preacher. I'm going to hell already.
That is true. I was a little bit of a cunty, like diva, like pop star, but you know what? I could see myself taking on that persona and then transitioning that into the bedroom.
But why do I always get stuck with the characters that'll never get laid? I was basically
because
Wilford
you're always
Brimley.
standing under the pussy tree, and the irony is funny.
Oh,
yeah. Well, try being Boy Blunder.
Whatever. You can be Throbbing the Boy Blunder.
Yeah.
It'll be great. Well, so tell us about the satisfaction that you get from role play. Is it an emotional satisfaction that you guys get? Is it physical? Is it entertainment? Just wondering what keeps you coming back to it, right? Bringing that into your bedroom, bringing that into your lives. There's got to be something about it that lights your fire.
I mean, I think really it really hits on all of those things, right? Like, I guess I'll kind of go back to, the fact that within a role play, you have the ability to map out what you want to happen, right? You have that ability to say, okay, Kissy loves getting her hair pulled, and let's work that into whatever whatever the situation is going to be, we're going to tie that in there somehow. And so it ensures that you have those physical needs met, but it also gives you the creativity part of it that can be so much fun.
I love that. I could see me leveraging something like that as a syllabus or an agenda for exactly what I want. Like, here's your expectation, boys.
Right. And by the way, there's a comment card. I'll be filling it out after.
So great. Oh, so something I was wondering, depending on how deep you guys get into characters and the different roles you're playing, and depending on the audience, like, do you guys have like an inherent maybe like safe word that you use to come in and out of character or during play while you're doing the role play? Okay. I love your honesty.
We should, but that no. That's what that sounded like.
So we just pulled off a role play on Friday evening. Okay, the
I saw that on Twitter. I was so excited. Yeah,
oh, you do
tell.
Yeah. Kissy was the college girl who needed an advisor, procrastinated, and so and we talked, and he was like, I don't know how to role play, but we told him, he's like, oh, I love this, and we went back to the professor's home, and it it got naughty really quickly, and he we told him what kind of, and I told him like, okay, she's gonna be our little college whore, and we're gonna like, I'm the counselor, you're the professor, and we're just gonna like make sure that she understands what she needs to do to get this advisory, the professor to be her advisor, and he got very much into it, where it was, he was saying, you being verbal and stuff like that, but that was supposed to be okay, and I didn't do a good job of communicating like how far, where those limits are, like don't go like super, and he, okay, and there was a point where she looked at me kind of like, okay, this is, it's kind of time, and so I was trying to give the hints, and he's just like, like, okay,
still hammering away.
Cut. That's a wrap.
Pussy smoking.
And you
slow
don't
down.
want to do that, right? So you need a safe word, because you don't want to make that awkward, like, hey, time out, because that could just be a cock blocker and ruins everything. So eventually I'm like, yeah, you should like finish inside her, so I was giving him like, you need to, and it
wrap it up.
Wrap this shit up.
Wrap it up. It would have helped if I would have had a safe word that we could have like understood what that means. Like, okay, that's a little too much or something. So shame on me. Yeah, you should have a safe word.
All right, noted.
Point taken. Lesson learned.
There it is. So, and now you guys kind of talk about how you had some trouble transitioning out of the role play because of a lack of a safe word. Does role play make it easier to transition into playtime? Because sometimes it's a little awkward, right? So are we able to use role play to transition into playtime more easily?
I think yes. I mean, so I'll give the example on the Friday night, right? We met at a bar, and we just were, just general chatting, right? We're just all who we are and talking, and you get to a certain point, and I excused myself to go to the bathroom. And that was kind of the signal for everyone that when I come back, now we're in the role play situation, right? So we had established that up ahead that, we're going to have fun, and we're going to have a drink, and, just get rid of some of the nerves. But then there is a clean break, right? Like you have some kind of signal that happens that says, okay, now we're going to transition into the role play. And, it allows you that opportunity to be able to, set that parameter.
We could do the pogs like we do at the Brazilian steakhouse, like the green and the red, just flip the pog over. Green, everybody go.
You're so funny.
Yeah, but think about it, like you're out with another couple, and it's first time, and everyone's hoping that this is gonna end up in the bedroom, and it can be a little like, okay, well, let's have another drink, because people are nervous, and how do you move to the bedroom, who makes that move when? So it is really effective, we think, like with another couple, is that's where, when it's time to move to the bedroom, it can be awkward, it can be nervous, it can be anxious filled. Using role play means everyone knows what and when things will happen. They know their roles. They know that they're not themselves. They are their new, alter ego naughty character. It allows everyone to more easily slide into naughty play. It gives the structure to the night without this potential endless awkward evening. And some say it takes out, spontaneity. But you can ad lib. And again, for a first play date, it increases the odds of success. And the next play date, maybe you take the role play training wheels off, and you just be more spontaneous. You still have a simple scenario, or whatever. But for that first, potential play date, I think, like with this couple that we met in, at the Hotel Takeover in the spring, and we met them at a casino a couple weeks ago in Dubuque in Iowa, and we all knew the plan and stuff, and the girls were the girls' night out away from their husbands, and the guys, we were boys' night out away from the wives. And after about a half hour or so, we met them. The guys met them at the bar, and I slipped a little something in their drink, a little placebo, something that helped them to go, oh, okay, yeah, let's go to your room, guys. And it was awesome, and they loved it, because there wasn't the awkwardness of, okay, now do I go, who and it was brilliant.
All the fun without the actual
Right?
roofies.
I was just thinking that. Oh my God, it's so great. But I think you actually are onto something, because you've already outlined the expectations. Sex is going to be part of the equation already. Yeah. So you've got that behind you. Now you can just focus on the persona you're going to take on, which I'm going to take a stab and go, it's not always far removed from who we are as people. It's probably a part of us that's just exaggerated for that moment, which I think is brilliant, because then you can focus on that, not on your nerves too. So it's also acts as a something to, I don't know, is copacetic? No. What word am I looking for, husband? Help me out here. You're the walking thesaurus that placates it. Like, I'm having a panic attack and I want to come down. Well, give me a word. Self-soothing. Thank you. It's 2 words, but
just did a whole fucking episode on this, honey.
Dude, I am on Vegas time because you came home with that, so I haven't been able to sleep before 3 a.m. every night, because you're up like, woohoo, let's party every night.
I don't mean to be. I'm all fucked up. Vegas killed me this week. What do you want from me?
But I digress. I really do think you guys are onto something as far as the methodology goes in playtime. I really do love it. And these scenarios have sound really, pretty simplistic, right? Easy to follow. Do you do like any other characters that have maybe additional or depth in their backstories, like maybe even more involved?
So, I think Kissy can answer that one. I think she has one that. Yeah, go ahead.
So there's one. So it's Jack Johnstone, and he's running for Senate, right? And we met his campaign manager, right? So his campaign manager is the guy that we're meeting, introduced this role play to him, and this campaign manager, this guy just went off the rails with all of the backstory, right? Like, he took Jack and made him into a Senate candidate, right? Like, he made like campaign yard signs. He had like email fundraisers that he was sending out. He even like had this fake Irish like mafia accent that he would use when we got together with him. And always these little elements and details that he added in that made this so exciting when we were planning it. And then we met for our play date, and he had created this like front page of a newspaper, right? Like this breaking news scandal that was going to hit the papers tomorrow morning of how much of a whore the senator's
Ooh,
wife was. And
damn.
he had taken these pictures, like from our Flickr site or something. And, it's all going to hit the news tomorrow, but he can prevent it if we can, work out, some other kind of payment to him. And, he obviously knows I was a little whore. So, that payment was going to be, but that was probably the most elaborate backstory that we had. And it really was because this guy just embraced it and he ran with it. And he, I think, also had just a lot of fun with, putting all of these little details in place, but it made it just a great
method actor
role
right
play.
there.
That's
Yes.
tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was.
that is truly impressive. So I was about to ask, and I think as I thought of this question, of course, when we told you guys what we wanted to do here, I think I'm going to kind of evolve this a little bit because I was going to ask about capturing the experience and have you moved into that sort of thing? But I kind of want to talk about how your role plays have evolved in complexity, right? I mean, like that guy was making campaign signs and newspapers and is it kind of like a lot of other things in sexuality where you have to up the ante, right, to really get the same effect? I mean, are these things getting more and more complex as you guys go on, or are you just doing them, or are they getting more complex because it's more fun?
I would say it just depends on the person or the playmates, right? Your play friends and what they want to do. I mean, if you find a couple or a guy or whatever that's like, oh, let's make this really elaborate, we're of course we're right there, and that ups the ante of the eroticism, and that makes it more exciting and builds the anxiety, it builds up that play date, and we really look forward to it. It's that foreplay of planning together, versus a simpler one, but the simpler ones can be just as fun as well. So I don't think we look for trying to build the next one to outdo the last one. It's just kind of like, every situation's different. Every person that we're venturing on a role play date depends on, it really depends on them, because we of course will, like, you want elaborate, we're here, we're going to make this elaborate. But if you want it simple, and we'll make it simple.
I can't even imagine the level these two could go to.
Dude, my wheels are spinning right now. Just
But like,
I mean, I'm a pretty creative bitch,
right?
but damn, you guys make me feel bad.
but it can be so simple, right? You can take an MFM situation, and we've done two that are just super simple, right? Have the guy deliver a pizza, and oops, I don't have the cash to pay him, and now what's going to happen?
Yeah,
right?
Amen, girl. I'm right there. First thing I thought of was the cop at the door, and I'm like, one day my brain,
right.
my brain's gonna snap, and the cop's gonna actually show up at the door, and I'm gonna get naked and arrested because of it.
Well, as long as you're inside the door, there's actually nothing wrong with it. But just in case you're taking notes, honey, I'd like pepperoni on my pizza, please.
Thanks.
Well, exactly, and then you've got pizza for when you're done.
Everybody wins.
It's so good. Now, when we introduced you guys to the casual swinger universe here, which is all five of us out here,
Right, all five listeners.
you guys are a cuckold couple as well, right? The story that you guys told when we brought you on the first time was about how your marriage was consummated by your bull. Now, knowing that you guys have that established power dynamic as part of your relationship there, does that same dynamic exist in the role play? Do you incorporate it as well? Is it totally different? That's fair.
We started off in the bull hotwife cuckold dynamic when we first started, and we'll still do that on occasion. But but we've also like we enjoy MFM, we enjoy other couples, so we're open to like any dynamic. So it depends. Like if we meet someone that's like, I'm like a bull and really want the hot wife cuckold thing, it's like okay, we can make this work. You could take any dynamic and plug into a role play very simply, and that's what's
Right.
so good. It's plug and play.
We did the Uber driver this summer,
Oh,
right?
yeah, that was
Jack's like, that was fun.
yeah.
And that was more of a cuck situation, right? Like this Uber driver shows up at the door because Jack had accidentally, called for an Uber, and he, comes to the door and he's expecting to take us, like, I don't know, it's like 30 miles or something. And, Jack is like, no, I didn't make this call. I didn't, mean to call. And he was like, well, you're on the hook for this fare. Like I'm expecting this fare. And if I'm not actually driving you there, I'm going to have to, take that fare from your wife. And
Nice. Well done.
That's right.
No.
Thanks for using Luber.
Uber.
Yeah, and what was hot about it was we were in the Wisconsin Dells, kind of a touristy
Right.
area, and we were at a motel, not a hotel. So he would pound it on the outside door where other people could like hear him, and he opens the door. Kissy's laying on the bed with just fishnets on and looking very slutty. And I was like, hey man, sorry, we drank too much. So kind of gave him that like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of this couple. They're stoned, and that was a purpose. I wasn't inebriated,
Yeah.
And so he kind of just barged his way in, and I had talked to him already, like, this is what you do. He's like, are you sure this is okay? And we had met him once before and had, a couple of years before COVID. So I'm like, let's do this. We're in your kind of part of the state, and we're in town. And he's like, okay, let's do it. And it was crazy hot.
That is so,
Awesome.
I just love your fucking creative brains. These are amazing. Like I'm taking notes.
I mean, you guys are our favorite twisted humans. You guys are so fucked up in the head. and
The
we love
best
it.
way. In the best way.
It's amazing. No, it really is, and I mean that. I mean that as a
100%.
compliment. So since we're talking about some of these characters, and this is a question for each of you, so I want a different answer, hopefully from both of you. But what's your favorite character that you have personally ever developed and played? And we'll start with Jack.
Oh, that would be the very first that we did with that couple that their kids went off to college, and he wanted to be the evil villain, and I was Boy Blunder. And the reason why there's a few reasons, and number one was because it was probably the most elaborate role play, and we got into details, and we planned with them. We met them quite a few times just to share stories and laughs and plan and get to know them, right? So we developed a really fun relationship, knowing that we're moving towards this play date. And so when we did have this play date, they booked a suite at the Ramada Inn, 2 rooms, they did, and we all had our costumes, and we came prepared, and I put on the gold tights and the Under Armour burgundy shirt. I look like the mascot for the Maryland Terrapins out there. It was but I got to lose myself in this character that I was all dressed into, and I went to try to capture him in the Countess Kissy and whatever my wife's
Silver
name was.
Slut.
Silver Slut. Oh yeah, no, Countess Kissy and Silver Slut, his way. They're like, no, Jack, you can't go. You don't have the experience. And I went anyway, and I got all tied up, and so he ties me up to this chair, and then they have to go and try to capture him, and he captures Kissy, and he's torturing her with the wand, and like, this is 45 minutes, an hour, and eventually, like, okay, we're getting where it's time to move it to that next level, and this is their first time ever. So he got a little stage fright, and he kind of said something to his wife like, hey, why don't you go help out Boy Blunder? He's been tied up to that chair like forever. She comes over with Kissy, they both get on their knees, pull down my gold tights. I got this most amazing dual blow
Nice.
job that, like, why wasn't that my most favorite time, right? So that I'll never forget it. We never broke character. We never laughed. We went the entire, hour. It was about an hour, and it was just brilliant. And we all were like, we get Oscars,
Every
all
single
of
one
us.
of you, everyone gets one. I love
Everyone
it.
gets a
Now,
trophy.
do you guys record these for posterity? Sometimes, no, none of the time.
No,
Um,
not
Okay.
not really.
Keep that to yourself, huh?
We'll write the story after, but
Okay.
yeah, because well, part of it is you don't want to like ruin the moment and like wait, I gotta like change the camera and move the and it can get in the way, and some people are uncomfortable with that too. So we'll do pictures like, okay, let's do some posing and frame like the story, and we'll do some afterwards. Sometimes we'd film parts of it, but I'll let Kissy
Fair.
tell us about her favorite character.
so for mine, it's not necessarily the character for me, but it was the role plays that we did. So we had a friend, Matt the realtor,
Oh, jeez.
who and Matt was like an actual realtor. And so he would, call us up on a Saturday and he's like, "Hey, I'm showing this house on Sunday and you guys want to meet me there?" And we'd get dressed up, we'd get all, skirts and,
I bet Jack
meet
looks great in a
him.
skirt.
Oh no, we
Yeah.
got dressed up because it was Sunday morning, and we go to church, and Kissy's in this, her stockings and a little skirt, and I'm like trying to like pull her skirt a little. I'm like, and she's like, "We're at fucking church." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I gotta wait for this." Like, oh no, don't mix those two together.
But we
Sorry.
go
Sorry.
like he'd take us to all these empty houses, and we had different scenarios of what the situation was where we really needed him to get this house for us or to get a better deal or whatever it was. And to me it was just fun because we were able to have a very simple role play, but it always changed the location, and the scenario was a little bit different, and we just got to see some really cool houses.
I want in on this. Sounds like so much fun.
Kind of fantastic.
I love that. So, we've talked a lot about developing the characters and how simple or complex they can get. I have a thought that just popped into my mind that I have to ask you guys. So, with the role playing being part of your dynamic, how do you define if it was successful? What does success look like for you guys?
I think success for us is if we've planned a role play that not necessarily that everything was great in it, but that we were able to stay in the characters until the end.
Got it. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because that's probably one of the hardest things is to not bust out laughing like we do every 30 seconds on this show, right? So we actually love doing this and we have fun doing it.
Well,
so of course we're going to
for me, sometimes I have to take pause to really think through my next actions or my next words or my next questions. So for me, I would be concerned or have a fear that I would be like a stopgap at times, like intermission, folks.
Well, the other thing is you're not asking what would Mallory do. You're asking what would yes,
Yep.
Super Slut or whoever it is you're playing.
Cora the Explorer.
Right, so. Okay, excellent. Well, so have you guys ever been a part of an experience in a role play where somebody maybe took it a little too far? How do you handle that? How do you, since we don't have a safe word, how have you guys dealt with it?
I think that the great thing about role play is that everyone really has kind of, you have a general idea of what's going to happen, but within the role play planning, you're also able to get in those, those limits of, what's okay and what's not okay for each of the people. And that's not always conversations that you have up front with somebody that you're playing with, right? So we're not going to find ourselves in a situation where, the guy pulls out a ball gag because, that's a hard no for me.
Fair enough.
So we don't get into that kind of situation because we've had the ability to map out some of that, and it avoids those super awkward situations where somebody does something that, is a limit for somebody.
Yeah, and I think, like Kissy said, the limits and likes and dislikes in the context of a role play can be a great way to discuss those boundaries, in a new relationship. We've occasionally used, there's that BDSM checklist. You can Google it and find it, right? It's we're not into BDSM, but it has okay, what do you as the dominant, in this role, the professor, let's use Friday night, for example, what are your likes that you want, but to pull her hair? Okay. What is Kissy in the submissive role? She likes her hair. They both rank it as a 5. Oh, there's going to be a lot of hot damn hair pulling that night, And so that's a great tool. There's a lot of things you can share with each other. And that's part of the role play planning as well, is what is everyone's fetishes? What is everyone's kinks? And you got to be honest with it, because sometimes somebody may be like, I don't want to let this couple know about this kink because they're going to judge me on it. It's like, no, we might like it. So please be honest. We're not going to judge you. We're saying we're going to rank it a 1. No, we're Kissy's going to go 0 on the ball gag, and the guy may be a 5. Okay, so we don't do ball gag, but we do, the giant anal plug.
Perfect. See? But again, I think you're truly onto something, because you go, okay, we are absolutely playing, and we're just taking it to another level. So the do's and don'ts, the yeses and the nos, those are conversations that I see happen early on maybe in a dom sub or a BDSM relationship. But not necessarily always in a swinging dynamic, especially if you haven't played before. I think that's a lot harder for people to come out with. And maybe their fear is it takes some of the magic away. But in this scenario, it just adds to the dialogue and the storyline, right? So I absolutely love that.
That's kind of the beauty of using role play. It enables and enhances the communication up front, because you're kind of forced to talk about all these things. Whereas if you're just, hey, we're meeting this other couple, you're not going through all of those, things on a checklist, more than likely, So with a role play, you have just much more, the odds of it turning out successful, I just find it to be, more in your favor, because you've done your due diligence. You've been through the planning and through the communication.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that 100%. It's frankly, it's quite genius, especially in this situation. Now, we've already said when it comes to this stuff and role playing, you guys are really at the pro level. And if we have people listening, that's not obvious for couples where they want to start. Maybe we can just give them some quick bullet points of advice as how to walk through this and how to get started. And I'll give you one right now. For example, if this is a brand new couple, how does the conversation start for them about role play for a newbie couple?
I think it's trying to identify really tapping into that creative side, right? And going through some of those scenarios, what do you want it to be? Do you want this to be something where, it's just another guy? Do you want it to be where you meet a couple? Do you want this to be just private? Is it just going to happen at your house? Or do you want that element of some kind of public aspect to it, where you maybe meet out and then transition somewhere? I think if you can just pick on some of those real basic elements and ask some of those questions, don't worry so much about, what the whole story is. But if you just have, okay, we want it to be something where we're meeting a couple, and we want to have both a public aspect and a private aspect, right? So just those 3 simple things can give you a huge variety of different stories and scenarios that you can then build on.
The bartender at the casino was definitely, what is going on here? Like, these guys are picking up. Oh my God, they're taking him back to the hotel room. I mean, he was like, I could tell, like, and that was fun for everyone because they all were like, oh yeah, did you see him? He was kind of looking at us. And so, that's where the public aspect, you're not doing anything naughty in public, but people can listen and are eavesdropping and they're hearing the pickup lines and stuff. And then they see it actually like, oh, they're actually going up to the room. I mean, that's
awesome.
erotic, So, but keep it simple, sexy, right? Your KISS, and a lot of times that's good advice. Is it doesn't have to be elaborate. You can start simple and
KISS. Yep, I love that. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, that's kind of a mantra in this household, right? Like, keep it clean, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Life does that for you anyways.
And that's because Mallory secretly knows.
No, that's not true. But I love some of this guidance here, especially for new folks. And, because some of the questions I had were like, how do you even pick the right role in this scenario? Like, where would you start at? So you're starting to communicate, you want to role play. Like, how would we talk to a newbie about, where do you start there? How would you help them figure out their role? Would it be like a personal, like, kink or fetish, or like where do you even look?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it, right? And some of it is like Jack talked about, like, what's the dynamic, right? Some things get automatically built in just depending on what the scenario is, right? So you can take what is somebody's fantasy, or what does somebody want to experience. Just try to go down to just the basic levels of the simplicity, and you can build off of it.
Right on.
That makes sense. I mean, just kind of, keep it something you understand, keep it something that's part of your dynamic, keep it something that you can easily lose yourself in, but still kind of be cognizant and serve the overall play, I guess. Makes sense. Now, as far as goals go, right? I mean, it seems simple to say, my goal in having sex is to come. But in role play, it's a little more nuanced than that, right? I mean, everybody's got to have a good time, right? But should newbies have a set of goals? I mean, if you guys had to give newbies a tip and say, this is what you should aim for in your first role play, is it a time thing? Should they keep it short? Should keep it, and like you said, keep it simple, something they can achieve? What do you guys think as far as some good first time, like first outing goals for newbies?
Yeah, well, it's not to win the porn Oscar, for starters. So don't set that up, because you may get like, oh, I really blew it, and I'm not pulling this off right. Establish your sexual goals. Are you planning do the four of you want to do a full swap? Is it same room play? Is it an MFM? Is it a cuck situation? Like, what do you want? Well, then there's the personal goals. Like, do you want some exhibition element of masturbating in front of someone, or maybe it's just the girl wants to give a head, and maybe it's her first girl experience. A few simple things you would like to do and experience, and then just build a simple role play around those. This is what I kind of would like to have. These are my goals. Is I'd like to, girl would like to kiss a girl. Okay, well, let's build that into the role play,
That's wonderful. Well, I think, babe, my mind's blown, and I can actually see me personally incorporating maybe not a strategic role play where I'm taking on a full on character, but I've grown a little interested on taking on a persona and maybe just honing in on that one part, because I'm doing, horny as fuck fall. Because Slutty Summer had a little hiccup in there, but I'm really trying to empower myself more to go out there, experiment and explore the hot wife dynamic a little bit. And I found myself being able to hone in on a part of me to take on that persona and proceed with some of these experiences. So I've literally, you guys can see me, but our listeners can't. I'm over here taking notes, like literally, almost like little positive mantras in our discussion here. So I really appreciate you guys doing this for us, because I'm gonna have a takeaway. Selfishly.
Yeah, and that's our thing for you guys, right? Is if you could tell our listeners out there that haven't ever done this before, if you could give them a couple of pro tips from Jack and Kissy, what would they be?
I would just say, have fun, right? Like, sex is supposed to be fun. We thought role play was the most ridiculous thing when we were first introduced to it. And then we started thinking about how it can really take some of the awkwardness out of new situations with new people that you're meeting, and, or use it as a way to liven up, a relationship that you've been in for a long time, right? Like, add a little spice into it, but really just, have fun with it. It doesn't have to be super serious. It doesn't have to be something where you have scripts and costumes. You can, start a role play in the grocery store when you bump into someone. Keep it simple and have fun with it.
And like what I like to tell, because we've had some couples that have contacted us after our wedding story. We've had a lot of people contact us, and a lot of times we'll get like couples that are like, hey, we've never done anything and we're afraid and we don't really, and we'll offer that the cat and mouse role play, right? Which is, and this is how we started a long time ago. We still love doing this, where Kissy goes into the bar first and she's got on, little short skirt showing some cleavage, and she sits, and I come in like 10, 15 minutes later and I sit like somewhere else across and watch if any guys will like hit on her. And of course all guys are chicken, and it doesn't really happen. They're like, oh, she's too hot, I'm not going near her. And so eventually, it's funny because she'll always tell me like, Jack, no one's really gonna, and I'm like, gosh, it's so stupid. But anyway, I'll eventually go to save her, right? And I'm the like guy in town that, and she's like, yeah, my husband just left for the weekend. We were supposed to have a date tonight. And I'm like, oh, and we'll just do that little simple role play and take that home. But we were out in an environment. We were at a location where you had some of those elements that were live and real. And now we can take that to the bedroom in fantasy and envelope some reality into our fantasy of I'm the guy that's, she's cheating with and in bed with, and that's so easy to do, and it's so exciting. We've given this advice to people and they're like, oh my gosh, we're trying this, we did it, and it's like, yeah, how easy, and it's role play, but it's just between
hands down the most interesting sex life I've ever heard about. I can't even, there's no other words.
Well, and, he's right. This stuff is, it's not just about sleeping with other people. That was just him and Kissy, just out on a Friday night, having a good time together. And that's the misnomer about the lifestyle that I think nobody gets. Everybody thinks that our life is entirely about having sex with people that is not our spouse. It's not the case. It's about the relationships and the friendships and the excitement that we bring to our own lives that oftentimes doesn't involve anybody else. It's taking the walls off of a life that never should have had them in the first place.
Hear, hear. Huzzah.
Absolutely.
Amen.
This has been a blast, guys. It's always a blast having you on the show. Do me a favor. You guys got your own thing now. People can follow you and see your adventures. They can go on OnlyFans and see what you guys are up to. Tell our listeners how to find Jack and Kissy if they want a little bit more of what you guys got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can find us on SLS and DDN and FetLife and everywhere else is Jack and Kissy, AND. But we also, we started an OnlyFans site about a year ago or so, and just kind of because we were fielding a lot of questions and a lot of people were asking about our relationship and asking for advice and things. And, we didn't really know what we were doing. We started just posting some videos and some pictures, but we started to do like a hot tub vodcast. Where we just, it's about 5 minutes, and we just, we're pretending to be Mickey and Mallory.
Oh, I love you guys.
And we talked about, we don't interview anyone, but we haven't yet. But you're welcome to be in our hot tub. and we field questions, or we'll talk about like tips for singles, or hotel takeovers. If you haven't done one, this is, or role play ideas, and we like to use that as our forum to educate people, and it's free. We don't have, it's not a subscription that, it's so our OnlyFans. So we have a few paid things, but most of it's free. And for us, this is about helping others in the naughty, helping newbies, helping those single guys who are clueless and they have cockpicks on, but we try to help them. We're like, hey dude, try this. Try introducing roleplay to a couple, and they'll like, whoa, they maybe go, whoa, no guy has ever approached us with that. So we try to help people succeed in the naughty. And
that
so it's
epic.
onlyfans.com/Jack and Kissy.
There it is, folks. Well, that's absolutely awesome. I'm so proud of you guys for jumping out there and not only being members of this community, but trying to contribute back to it. That's really a mark of someone exceptional, and we always do that about you
100%.
guys.
I mean, I didn't know I could love you more, but every time we talk to you, my heart grows just a little bit bigger, kind of like the Grinch, because you guys kill it so well. We truly do miss you guys and appreciate spending your time and sharing and being so open with that, with us and our listeners and pretty much everyone you come into contact with.
Yeah. Well, thanks one more time to both you, Jack, and you, Kissy. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you again.
Love you guys.
We won't be at all offended if you chop half of this interview out, because we know we could talk for a really long time on this.
I don't think our listeners mind.
I don't think anyone will.
I don't think they mind at all.
This was great. Thank you both so much, and you two are awesome, and we miss you terribly. We hope we can see you in person again soon.
We'd really like to hear the helicopter role play coming up soon. Mallory.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Something tells me that won't be a role play.
It's gonna be. I can't even.
She's done with that. Well, hey, Mallory,
right.
get your shit together and tell everybody the thing.
So we are Casual Swinger everywhere. You can find us at casualswinger.com. If you want to shoot us a message, it's podcast@casualswinger.com. You can also find us on social media. That's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as Casual Swinger. And then we're also on the dating sites. Check us out. Double Date Nation, SLS, SDC, and Cassidy.
And there it is, folks. Make sure to come back and join us here in a couple of weeks. We got our next episode all teed up for you. Matter of fact, it's even got a title. It's not me. It's definitely you, the Hot Wife Conundrum, where Mallory's going to go in deep on some of her frustrations securing reliable play partners as of late.
Pack a lunch. I got a
lifestyle in
soapbox.
Central Florida. Uh-oh. Mallory's got some shit to grind her gears, folks. Thanks for hanging in with us and our friends Jack and Kissy. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.
Happy Halloween!